That I really, really do enjoy. I'm just a normal person. There is absolutely nothing different about me except that I have a job that is in the public eye and that does attract attention. But in terms of, it's a job. You know, I don't go around saying, hello, I'm a celebrity, you know, I'm a really important person. I'm just a human being.
Words fail me when we come to our next phenomenon, for that's what he is. Talent is quite literally his middle name. Well, actually, it's sort of Dave or Robin or something, but it should be Talent. He's a guitar legend and distinguished songwriter in his own right. He's the man who gave us sunglasses, or shades as we DJs call them, and the man who changed the face of the world forever with Pop Quiz. Deep personal friend and broadcaster, Mike Reid. 275 and 285. How those words will live with us forever.
Oh, the glam and the glitter and the boys are back like never ever been away. Oh, the glam and the glitter and the boys are back, and the boys are here to stay. Oh, with the glam and the glitter, I just sort of had this idea and used the names of, Slade down, afraid to get down, to get with it. The cat crept in, still got that spirit. And Gary's still the leader of the gang. You know, you start getting ideas and working around it. A lot of the main songs are basic. I mean, when you sit just playing for your own enjoyment, you know, you're probably playing, you know, more sort of intricate stuff and just fiddling around and going off into a dream world. When you're actually writing a song, you tend to sort of, you know, get that noise going so you can really feel something behind it. It's difficult to say how you write a song anyway. It's just something in the air. Sometimes, you write them in the car and get home and think, better get that one down quickly. Mike Reid. You know, I know the media sometimes sort of use it as it becomes a stigma, that sort of dreaded two-initial prefix, disc jockey or DJ, which they sometimes see as being slightly derogatory by sticking that in front of your name. I don't think it is. I mean, that old image of, the disc jockey as a complete and utter jerk is not true, because it's all the people I work with, they're interesting, a lot of them are intelligent in varying degrees, a lot of them are nice people. I think a lot of them don't deserve some of the stuff that's being thrown at them. I think that's one of the problems of it, that people see you always a prattling git, because that's what you're paid to do, really. If you are, bunged up with anybody in a room for hours, you probably get fed up with them. But you're there all the time talking about you and exposing yourself, which is quite fun. I love the road shows. I mean, I remember my mother phoning up after one series of road shows, and she said, "You're in your element, aren't you? The roof down in the car, the guitar in the back, going from town to town in the sunshine, just having a good time." And I said, "Yeah, I think it's sort of Romany in my soul. I think it appeals to me." It also appeals to the third former in you, the practical jokes that got more elaborate and more expensive. You spend all your money that you earn during the week on practical jokes, as I did anyway. It sounds childish, doesn't it? But it was. But the roadshow I love, because you've got 15, 20,000 people there, people at home listening, and you've got to, work it for both people, really, for the crowd that are there and at home, so they don't get fed up with saying, "Oh, great Yarmouth." Really good fun, the road shows. I love them. I could have done it all year long, happily. No, it's not a job for a grown-up person. If you've got any intention of growing up at any point during your life, then I'd recommend not being a disc jockey. If you intend to stay childlike as opposed to childish, then it's certainly the job for you. It's very enjoyable. Seriously, I mean, I don't think... I think it's more fun not growing up, really, anyway. It's you enjoy life a lot more. I mean, I know a lot of, old guys and old women and who aren't really, because they're still really young at heart, because they love life. I always hate, the moaners and whingers and the grey people who get old very quickly, and it's like, oh, life's a real drag. I mean, I think it's just lucky if you can do something that you enjoy doing. And I'm lucky that all the things I do, like the songwriting and the musicals and the radio and the TV, I just love. Kind o' the kinderbank leans mime van we white, o' the playpen the sheen of her dress, fresh from the bathroom, soft in the nursery, soap-sanded fingers I long to caress. Were you a prefect and head of your dormitory? Were you a hockey girl, tennis or gym? Who was your favorite? Who had a crush on you? Which were the baths where they taught you to swim? It's fun just sitting there letting stuff pour out of your head, you know, it's great, even if it's rubbish.
Now, we all love him. We all know him. And even if we don't know him, we know of him. He lives, quite literally, on a farm. He's the man who introduced us to snooker on the radio, to darts on the radio, and, of course, to tea and biscuits on the radio. He's a deep personal friend of mine, but he's also a lot more than that. He's hairy. He's monstrous. He's Dave, quite literally Lee, quite literally Travis.
Come on, you lot. Jockeys! Wee, look.
When my goose gets dizzy and falls over and has to be taken to the vet in the car, the people listening actually like to hear about that because it's real life. It's chickens and the dog's done this and the cat's done that. It's actually me just sharing parts of my life with the listener. Marianne and I enjoy a cup of mixed Darjeeling and Earl Grey here at home, and suddenly I thought, why not get a decent-sized flask, take it in with me? It started, people were laughing at me as I walked in the building. Now those very same people actually fight to get through the studio door to get a cup of my tea on a Saturday and a Sunday. So what more can I say? The Hairy Monster jingles were something that simply came about. I mean, you go through these phases. I, at the time, was well known for being from Manchester, which was a couple of 100 miles up the M1, and I used to think about these balmy jingles. And it's amazing how they caught on and people just don't forget them. And then I made a jingle, you know, the Hairy Monster from 200 miles up the M1. And people love it. And then I became, when I did the breakfast show, from the Hairy Monster, it became the Hairy Cornflake, which was ludicrous. Who can call themselves the Hairy Cornflake? But people still say it to me, which is daft. But it's nice. It's things for people to latch onto. It's a bit of fun. It's part of its time. I can't call myself the Hairy Cornflake. I can't call myself the Hairy anything now. Got to be very careful what I call myself. I hope that when people think about all the names that I've been called in my life, I hope at least that they will say to me, yes, there's one name, you're a communicator. It's a strange thing to say, but when I'm talking to the mic, I'm there with the microphone and I'm getting very confidential with the microphone. It's, you know, and it is effectively talking to one person out there. So I suppose that would be the answer that everybody's looking for. You are talking to that one person, especially when you say things, look, you know, on a Sunday morning, excuse me, please, how can you do the ironing while I'm talking to you? I mean, I've spent all this time getting up this morning and arranging this studio and getting it nice and neat and getting all these wonderful... and you're ironing while I'm talking to you? It's this terrible sort of instant society that we've got, which is fine if you want to go and get a McDonald's. Go in there, you expect to go in there, you expect to be served in less than 60 seconds. If it's more than 60 seconds, you're annoyed and you're liable to walk out. So the whole world has gone along that route. I have to despair about new stuff. There's a lot of going back to the old stuff, of cover versions of old stuff, simply because there aren't writers around to do the new stuff. Maybe, in my worst nightmare, the way I feel about the fact that there are not any new DJs coming up to replace us guys who've been there for a long time, because they're not willing to train and learn. Maybe within the songwriting industry it's a similar story. Maybe there are people out there that have written the odd rap record and think, hey, this is good, I've made a few quid on this, don't need to take it any further. And unfortunately, if everybody stops and stands still, the new talent doesn't come through. That's the worst scenario. I think really that there are a lot of people sitting down there in their bunkers. You see, this is what everybody doesn't realise. Whilst we're all going berserk now, there are bunkers all over Great Britain. Inside the bunkers there are air conditioning, there's plenty of food supplies, areas where they can cycle around and keep fit. And this is not in the event of a nuclear holocaust. This is actually songwriters and talented people who realise that at this moment in time there is no room for them on this earth.